Well, welcome to our today's vlog. I figured I'd give you a little bit of a tour here. There's our driveway sign, says Fort Langford on it, established 1805. And it really wasn't established in 1805, but that's the year my wife lost our canoe. And this is a view of our road towards town and some of our trees. We do have a few. And there's brave dog Nika, who ain't, but she's here anyway. And this is the start of our sugar bush. Your sugar bush starts there and goes, down to about the end of where you can see. And that's pretty much. So we're going to take a little walk and see how this goes here. I don't know how long my arms can stand up holding this, but we'll see it. And we're at the start of the driveway. And we got quite a ways to walk yet before we get anywhere. Anyway, it's one thing to talk about prepping and living off grid, and I'm going to go right out in the woods. And, well, we do live out in the woods, and we live off grid. And you notice the absence of power poles and power wires, and that's the reason for that. And I know a lot of places bury their wires, but you'd have to go down 7 feet because that's where the frost line is. 7 feet down. So you ain't going to bury them. There just ain't no power out here. If you go 8 miles down that road, then you'll come to a power pole. And here we're coming up. That's the end of the sugar bush. And friend parked his truck there about 4 years ago, said he'd be back in 2 weeks with parts for it, and it's still there. But, that it ain't hurt nothing, so why not let it sit there? Oh, I gotta climb over a hump here. And this is a little building over there. That's my fur shed. When I can trap, well, that's kind of where we process furs. Oh my, what do we got for tracks here? Oh, those kind of look like Nika tracks. So we ain't gonna worry about that much. Used to have my forage here too. And the kid I hired to help me, he didn't like working outside in the winter. So he moved my forage for me, but this is where it is. And now we're getting into the fur shed. As you can see, oh dear, there's my fleshing beam. It's down there. It tilts up to the wall and holds down. There's some ink boards over there. And some coal for the forge. Some iron for the forge. I don't know, some bird that somebody hit and boy fixed it up. That white hanger you may or may not be able to see in the background, that's a fur hanger. Can't dry furs in here, but you could put them on a hanger, take them up to the house, and dry them in the cool room. That's some more of the sugar bush. And looking back out towards the driveway that we came in. And there's the skinning gambrel. That's where you put your animals up to flesh them. And so I'm going to put my other glove back on here. So we'll go away for a little bit here. And now we're going to have to break a little trail to get to the old house. There's two houses on this property. One my wife and her late husband lived in, raised their two kids. We lived in there the second year we was up here. The first year we were up here, my son-in-law died. So we went and lived with his wife, my stepdaughter, and her two kids. There's the old doghouse, and they had a German Shepherd. And oh, goodness gracious. So now we're coming up on the old house. Pretty good looking place, ain't it? And there's two drawbacks to it. One, corners are all starting to rot out. So it ain't really all that sound. And second of all, if it is sound, it's a terrible place to keep warm in the winter. Never does get warm. Now, right where that little pine tree is, that's about in the center of my wife's butterfly garden. And here's the front door to this house. And we'll go in there and explore another day or maybe in a little bit. But for right, come on, get out the way, tard. We go along the side here. That car there, it's an old Kia that we had when we come up here. And it finally died, and we left it here for it to run. But my youngest daughter got in a wreck with it. And she couldn't drive it, but the engine would run, so we used it for a power supply when we lived down here. And now we're going into the forge. And there's my forge. And some tools. And an anvil-like object. And some hammers. Don't look pretty, but it works. The other side of the dog, there's a little fenced off place for kindling for the wood stove. This place is heated with wood. And phew. That's the trick when you get in your 70s. Everything's a lot harder than what it was when you were in your 20s. So anyway, that side door, a wood bin. When we lived down here, that whole area where the forge was, all the way down to this end of the house, was and about 10 feet high, was full of wood, cut, split, and dried firewood. We went through 3 of them that year. We had a month that it never got above 20 below zero. And you go through a lot of wood. Those of you that's heating a big house and heating her with wood, you'll find out you go through a lot more wood than you think you would. And now we're coming around to the bedroom door. And this is where I generally stop and take a break. So we shall do so. Phew. Oh, there's a handy step to sit on, and the dog wants to go run maniacally, but I am not up to running maniacally. And this is some more of our woods. And we got mostly pine and fir trees and birch. Back by the road there's a lot of maple. And there's a few oak trees through here, but not so many. And so for right now, I'm going to pause this and start again in a little bit. Don't sit down here and have a smoke break, and I'm tired of holding this damn camera up. Catch you on the flip-flop.